I find my ex-husband too talkative. After the divorce, I simply found myself a mute boyfriend. The little mute guy is young and obedient, and he really wins my heart. One day, I went to his school to pick him up. But I overheard a conversation he was having with his roommate. "Derek, how long are you going to keep pretending?" "Until I get bored." As soon as I entered the men's dorm, I heard someone teasing him. "Derek, what's it like pretending to be mute while flirting with your aunt?" I instinctively stopped in my tracks and stood at the door. After a long pause, a deeper voice replied. "Just like that." Through the crack in the door, I saw a tall guy sitting casually on a stool with his legs crossed. His eyelids were half lowered, revealing a very handsome face. "When are you going to break up? Doesn't it feel uncomfortable not talking to her every day? Does it make you uncomfortable talking every day?" He was fiddling with his phone, his expression full of impatience. "I'll say something when I get bored." I didn't say anything, pretending I didn't hear, and turned around to walk back downstairs. I sent him a text, "I'm here, where are you?" His reply came quickly. "Got it, I'll be right down." In just a few seconds, a figure came running out of the dorm building. Derek was still wearing the same black hoodie. But the look of annoyance had faded, replaced by a bright, cheerful face. He flashed a smile and walked up to me, then looked down and typed on his phone. "Have you been waiting for long?" "No, not too long." He looked at me for 2 seconds, blinked, and typed again. "Are you upset? Did waiting make you frustrated?" I turned my head and looked at the boy holding his phone, trying to please me cautiously. I sighed and said, "No, just work stuff." He lowered his eyes, looking a bit disappointed. His expression was so different from the one I just saw in the dorm. It made me wonder if that whole scene had just been my imagination. He obediently sat in the passenger seat and suddenly remembered something. "Can you wait a few more minutes for me?" I nodded, and the boy immediately opened the car door and ran out. While waiting for him, I hesitated for a moment, then opened Edgar's contact. "You mentioned you have a nephew, what's his name?" Quickly, someone I hadn't heard from in a long time replied. "Edgar, Derek." "Edgar, what's up?" I was about to reply when the car door opened. I quickly stuffed my phone into my pocket, it was Derek. He shoved his hands in his pockets, buckled his seatbelt, and then pulled out a lollipop. Strawberry flavored. He pushed it toward me. "Is this for me?" The boy nodded, not angry anymore, "Okay?" I was a student on Edgar's scholarship. I married him only because he needed me. He needed a compliant, obedient wife to deal with his father, pressuring him to get married. And I was the easy pick. When I was with him, I rarely got the chance to understand his family. But I did have some impression of this nephew, who was always kept away from the family. A playboy. A wild young master, who even Edgar couldn't control when he went off the rails. This grand ancestor was now sitting beside me, acting all obedient. I found it pretty interesting. When the car stopped at a red light, I looked at him. "Kiss me." The boy froze, then his eyes gradually darkened. Without me needing to ask again, he leaned over and grabbed my chin. He kissed me deeply. Even though Derek always acted so calm, there was still an undeniable sense of raw aggression in him when it came to intimacy. Suddenly, the car beside us honked twice. Before I could react, the horn sounded again. I turned and realized the car next to us had lowered its window. It was a very familiar face. "Edgar?" I instinctively felt nervous, but then I remembered that he no longer had any say in my life. The man's expression wasn't pleasant, and there was a hint of sarcasm in his voice. "So impatient?" I grinned, "Young people have a lot of energy." Edgar's face darkened as his gaze shifted past me to the person sitting in the passenger seat. I instinctively tensed and leaned to one side to block his view. "The light's green. I won't block traffic anymore," I said, rolling up the window. I looked at Derek, whose face was turned toward the window, looking lost in thought. I suddenly wondered what Edgar would think if he knew the person kissing me was his nephew. But this situation was too interesting. I wasn't ready to let it end just yet. When we got home, Derek couldn't wait to rush at me. He eagerly hugged me and kissed my lips. "I don't like him." "Who?" "Your ex-husband." I leaned closer and brushed against his ear. Funny, I don't like him either. He picked me up with one arm and tossed me onto the bed. I gasped and clung to his neck. He smirked silently, his eyes flashing with pride. I suddenly remembered what his roommate had asked him earlier. "What's it like hooking up with your aunt?" He had said, just like that. But I was different. Hooking up with my ex-husband's nephew. That feeling was pretty damn satisfying. Edgar used to be wild. But his wildness came from being in control. He only took, I never felt like I could enjoy it. But Derek was different. I knew he was trying to please me. This feeling of pleasure peaked after I learned his true identity. Just as he was about to impatiently get things started. The doorbell rang. Ignore it. Soon, the doorbell turned into the sound of a phone ringing. It should be something important. I patted Derek's head soothingly. With one hand, I grabbed my phone. Open the door. It was Edgar. "I'm not home. I saw your car, open up." I hesitated. "It's not convenient right now." The person outside seemed to light a cigarette. "Are you with that guy?" "We're divorced." "It's none of your business." "Then let's remarry." After he spoke, it seemed like he scared himself. Neither of us said anything. The static sound on the other end of the phone buzzed. I spoke first. "You're drunk. Have your assistant take you home. Open the door first. It's really not convenient. Your courage is growing." Then, as if he thought of something, he sneered. "Wait, I almost forgot. You kissed me when I was drunk and pretended to be crazy, asking me to marry you. Your courage has always been big." The call ended. I was still caught in the words Edgar had said. Back then, I really did love him. The first time I met Edgar, I had just passed the college entrance exam. I bravely went to his company to meet the person funding my studies. Falling for him seemed like the natural thing to do. I never imagined I'd marry him one day. After marriage, I lived in the pink bubble I had created, thinking my love could sustain the relationship. Until Sally appeared, shattering my dream. "Megan?" A hand reached from behind me. I turned. Derek was standing right behind me. Suddenly, I felt very curious, if he knew the real reason Edgar and I divorced was because of another woman. What would he do? Would he still pretend to be mute to seduce Sally? That mute act was getting old. Maybe he could pretend to be a cripple instead. I couldn't help but laugh at the thought. I patted Derek's cheek. "I'm not in the mood right now, maybe another time." Then I stood up and put on my robe. I didn't notice the complicated look on Derek's face. At night, I was drifting in and out of sleep when suddenly I was jolted awake by vibrations. It's just you left tonight. The girls coming are smoking hot. Don't want to have a drink?" It was then that I realized. I was holding Derek's phone. From the bathroom came the sound of a shower, so I placed the phone back on the bedside table. Not long after, Derek came out. He tiptoed over to my side, trying not to wake me, and picked up the phone, scrolling for a moment before casually tossing it aside as he put on his jacket. I pretended to have just woken up and opened my eyes. "Going out?" The professor needs me for something, I have to go back to school." "Now?" "It's almost midnight." Derek shrugged with a helpless look. I inwardly sneered. This rich young master really should have become an actor. I held back the urge to roll my eyes and patted his head soothingly. "Almost graduated, no rights, I get it." A few minutes after Derek left, I slowly got up, grabbed the car keys, and followed him out. Not that I had anything in particular to do, but I was curious. What was the real Derek like, behind the act of being obedient and playing the martyr? After all, the first time I met Derek, it was in the hospital. I had just finished surgery, was moving slowly, and needed some help. Derek had come to apply for the caregiver job. At first, I was hesitant. It wasn't because he was a deaf-mute, but because I wanted a female caregiver. But the boy was very eager. I've been taking care of my mom since I was a kid, I have plenty of experience. I promise I can do everything they can do, just as well. I have to admit, at that moment, I softened. I didn't have a father. My mother was paralyzed, and I had taken care of her just like he did. If it weren't for Edgar's financial help, I probably wouldn't have been able to finish high school. So, I kept him on. Just as Derek had said. He was obedient, diligent, and considerate. Other caregivers would take any opportunity to slip away and rest. But Derek stayed by my side day and night. When I was feeling down, he would do everything he could to cheer me up. At that time, I had no appetite, and this guy would cook for me. He'd arrange the meals into various cartoon characters, coaxing me to eat just one bite. The nurses would laugh, telling me, "He's treating you like his girlfriend." So, it was only natural that we eventually became a couple. During this time, I never doubted Derek's identity. He often couldn't help but sign to me. Sometimes when he was in the mood, I'd let him teach me a few signs. Even in the most intimate moments, he never made a sound. He would just look at me with his wet eyes, like a content little puppy. Of course, the reason I never doubted him was because what kind of playboy could be this patient? I used to be a regular at bars. Most of the time, it was Edgar who took me. He would drink, and I'd drive. Then, on the way back, in his car, we'd do all sorts of ridiculous things. Shaking off the past memories, I was about to search for Derek's private room, when suddenly, a hand grabbed my arm. "Here to see me?" I looked up and saw Edgar standing in front of me. "You didn't want to see me earlier, but now you're rushing over. What's this? Playing hard to get?" "I'm here to find my boyfriend." I avoided his intense gaze and turned to leave. But he tightened his grip on my hand and pulled me into a men's restroom stall. "Edgar. If you yell louder, you'll bring everyone over." I glared at him. He rubbed his thumb across my lips. "So, did he kiss you here today?" "None of your business." "Let go of me. You're showing your claws now, huh? You've changed a lot since the divorce." Edgar sneered. "Break up with him." "Why should I?" "Megan, you should know I don't like others touching my things." His finger traced my face. "There's a limit to how unreasonable you can be. Don't dance in my danger zone." I was about to argue when he continued. "When I agreed to the divorce, it was to fulfill your wish, but that doesn't mean you can escape my control. I've given you too much freedom this past year, and now you've forgotten who you belong to." Edgar was domineering, looking down on me from above. If he wanted, he could make all my efforts at work and in life amount to nothing. But why? Why did the person who betrayed our marriage have the audacity to say such things? "You already have Sally. Isn't that enough for you?" Mentioning her name, Edgar frowned in disgust. "I told you, there's nothing between us." "Nothing? Your kissing pictures with her are all over the news." "Yeah, it was just a kiss." "Does that really make you angry?" It made no sense. What a jerk. I didn't want to hear any more of his words, so I forcefully yanked my hand free. Just then, I heard a man's voice outside. "Little uncle, you done yet?" I froze. Was that Derek? Edgar was about to open the door when I yanked him back. He raised an eyebrow at me, and I avoided his sharp gaze. Edgar didn't move. Through the door, he asked, "Is there something wrong?" On the other side of the wall, Derek's impatient voice came through. "Going back, driver, let me borrow him." "So early?" "Yeah." Edgar made a call to the driver, and Derek left shortly after. As he was leaving, he whistled. "Have fun." I looked up and met Edgar's thoughtful gaze. "You know Derek?" "I don't." "Why avoid him?" "A man and a woman in a men's restroom stall, Mr. Edgar has no shame, but I do." With that, I kicked the door open. This time Edgar didn't try to stop me. Derek had been driven home by Edgar's driver. That meant he wasn't coming back to my apartment. After all, the driver knew exactly where I lived. He had concealed his identity to get close to me, probably so Edgar wouldn't find out. I didn't hurry home. Instead, I took my time strolling down the street. It was late, and only a few cars passed by. The billboards on both sides of the street were unusually bright in the night. Sally's face stared at me in ultra-high definition. Her words echoed in my ears. "If it weren't for Edgar, someone like you wouldn't even be worthy of carrying my shoes." I had once felt smug. So what? He'd rather marry someone like me than you. But later, videos of her kissing Edgar spread all over town. I begged Edgar to clarify his relationship with her. But he said, "Can't you stop being so childish?" That's when I finally woke up from my illusion. Yeah, they were upper-class people. Sally had grown up with Edgar as his little sister. A big star he had elevated with his wealth. And I was just Edgar's wife, kept at home. Since our marriage, I didn't even know who his nephew was. It wasn't that I didn't care, it was that Edgar never gave me the chance. Maybe to him, I was just a dog to relieve his desires. We'd had a cold war until the divorce, and Edgar still thought I was being unreasonable. He always believed I'd regret it one day. And I did regret it. Regret not leaving him sooner. As I was almost home, I got a message from Derek. It was a selfie of him lying on his dorm bed. Derek, lying down. Life really is like a play, all about acting. I pretended to be clueless, just finished up, huh? Derek, yeah, the professor made me do the grunt work. Then Derek sent a photo of himself in bed. Derek, miss you. I smiled a little, be good, I'll feed you next time. In the morning, I was woken up by the sound of the door opening. I walked out of the bedroom to find Derek holding breakfast bags. I was surprised. You're here so early? Derek put the bags on the table. Came over and hugged my waist. I was afraid you'd be hungry. I glanced at the logo on the bag. It was from a famous breakfast shop. It's located far from here. I playfully kissed the corner of the boy's lips. While I was washing up, I checked my phone. A trending topic popped up at the top of the list. #SallyHeartMorning hashtag. I clicked on it and saw a breakfast photo she had posted. The caption read, "Thank you to someone for the love-filled breakfast delivered early this morning. Starting the day full of energy." Before I exited, I took another look at the logo on the bag. It was exactly the same as the one Derek and I had bought. A coincidence? The breakfast suddenly didn't seem as appetizing. When I came out of the bathroom, Derek was waiting outside like a guard. He looked a little uneasy, with a subtle tension about him. "Do you have something to say?" Derek nodded and raised his phone in front of me. "Next week, I need to go to City A. Is this another work thing arranged by your mentor?" "No, I'm going to see a doctor." I raised an eyebrow, and he continued typing. "I found a doctor who can treat my throat, and the doctor says there's hope for me to speak." In that moment, I almost couldn't hold back my laughter. I had been curious about how Derek would confess everything to me. And this was the outcome? I cleared my throat and said, "That's great. Do you need me to come with you?" Derek's gaze shifted, and he quickly typed again. "No, you focus on your work. I'm afraid I won't get better. If you're with me, you might be upset." "It will be fine, you'll get better. You're a perfectly healthy person. How could you not get better?" But after thinking for a moment, I added, half-heartedly, "Even if you don't get better, it's okay, I won't mind." Surprisingly, Derek seemed to be touched, pulling me into a tight hug. Derek had class in the morning, so after a bit of cuddling, he left. Only a few minutes after he left, the doorbell rang again. "You forget something, mm." My mouth was covered. I was suddenly enveloped by a familiar scent. I pushed the person away with force and wiped my mouth frantically. "Edgar, what the hell are you doing so early? Who was that leaving your place just now?" "No one left my place." "Do you really think I'm an idiot? Since you know, why are you asking? Do you even know who he is?" "Thanks to you, I found out a few days ago." Edgar squeezed my hand tightly. His eyes turned red. "How dare you?" This was the first time I'd seen Edgar lose control. I stared at him. "How dare I? Why don't you go ask him, how dare he? I've been with you for 7 years. If you had ever treated me with sincerity, if you had ever introduced me to your family after marriage, I would never have had the chance to agree to him." We stared at each other angrily, and as I thought about the past, my chest tightened slightly. Suddenly, he softened, pulling me into an embrace. His lips brushed against my right ear. "Break up with him, okay? I'll pretend I don't know." I suddenly found it extremely amusing. "I won't break up with him. Right now, I'm no one to you." Who I'm with has nothing to do with you. Edgar pressed his lips together, trying to control his anger. What do you want? Money? I can give you that. Or status? Do you think he'll marry you? I've been through marriage once, do you think I care? Then why? Are you trying to get back at me? Hearing this, I laughed. Mr. Edgar, you're asking the wrong person. The one you should be asking is Derek. What's his real reason for getting close to me? Edgar's expression became complicated as he reached out to stroke my cheek. You've grown up. I stared at him, silent. After a long pause, his hand tightened slightly. He grabbed my chin and kissed me again, disregarding my will. Without hesitation, I bit down hard on his lip. The man pulled back in pain. He rubbed his bleeding lip and suddenly smiled. Now, you've made me start regretting giving you freedom. Believe me, you'll willingly come back to me. After Edgar left, I collapsed onto the floor, my legs going weak. I took several deep breaths to calm myself. Just when I thought Edgar would make some kind of move next, I braced myself for a battle. Unexpectedly, Edgar didn't show up again. The day Derek left for City A, I received a message from the boy. Derek, I'm on my way. Wish me luck. Attached was a picture of a flight ticket. I replied with a good luck emoji. Just as I was exiting the message, my phone pushed a new update from Sally. Sally, off to a good start. Premiere success. Sally was a top-tier celebrity. Big data will push the most popular personalities and information to you, whether you like it or not. I had always ignored it before, but this time, I clicked in. Her location was at the airport, and the photo she posted showed a flight ticket to City A. From the same breakfast to the same destination. I suddenly had a thought. I opened Derek's photo again and zoomed in. In the lower right corner, there was an LV bag strap accidentally caught in the frame. I searched for photos of Sally at the airport taken by fans. That LV bag was one she often carried. So many little details told me that not only did they know each other, but their relationship was likely quite close. Could it be that I had been wrong from the start? Derek didn't approach me because of Edgar, but because of Sally. My grudge with Sally started 4 years ago. After I graduated from college, I officially moved into Edgar's place. It was also then that I learned Edgar had a childhood friend who was a big star. She would often call Edgar in the middle of the night. She would ask Edgar to help her with resources every so often. And she'd sweet-talk him like a little girl. I got jealous. And I got angry with Edgar. He told me, if I liked her, I'd already be with her. Do you think you'd even have a chance? Later, his grandfather forced him to marry Sally. In anger, Edgar and I got our marriage certificate without a proposal or a wedding. The day we got our certificate, Sally cried with red eyes. She looked at me. Do you really think Edgar loves you? He married you just to rebel against his family. What he cares about most is still me. At first, I didn't believe her. But later, when the Kissgate incident broke, everyone online thought he was Sally's boyfriend. Edgar didn't explain, and instead, he connected her to a foreign film project, helping her open up an international market. That's when I woke up. But what I didn't understand was, if it was Sally who instructed Derek to approach me, why? After all, in that love triangle, she was the ultimate winner. A few days later, I received another message from Edgar. This time, he didn't say anything. He just sent me a few photos. A guy walking beside a girl with his head lowered. The girl held her head high. The posture was domineering. The two figures were too familiar. Derek and Sally. You wanted to know the reason? Here it is. Derek has liked Sally for a long time, but he knew that Sally liked me, so he's been trying to match us up. When he found out I was married, he was the one who couldn't accept it the most. They'd been in contact these years. I didn't expect the young master to still play the role of the deeply affectionate second lead. I didn't respond, and Edgar continued. This time, Derek is going to City A for Sally's premiere. I guess he wants to get close to you, completely cut off any chance of us getting back together, and create an opportunity for Sally. I used to think it was crazy enough when Derek pretended to be mute. But I never expected the reason he came close to me was even crazier than that. I asked Edgar, "What are you telling me this for? You're not angry?" "Am I angry? I guess I'm not really angry, just baffled. Maybe it's because all my anger was used up during those 2 years of marriage. Wait until he comes back, and then you two break up. If you don't want to face them, I'll talk to Derek." I was confused. Why are you always trying to break up other people's marriages? Is there anything else you want from me, or should I hang up? Edgar was caught off guard. You still plan to stay with him? Why not? He doesn't like you. So what? You don't like me either, but I still married you. There was silence on the other end. I could hear the sound of someone lighting a cigarette. I never liked anyone else. Really? Then maybe you should start learning to like someone else. That night, I had a dream. I dreamed of when I had just started college, and suddenly received a call from the family servant. She told me my mother had fallen. She was in surgery and urgently needed money. My mother had been paralyzed for years, and I used to take care of her. After leaving for school, I hired a maid to look after my elderly mother. Even though I worked non-stop at various part-time jobs, the money I earned could only cover the maid's salary. At my wit's end, I went to Edgar for help. Embarrassed, anxious, restless. But Edgar didn't hesitate. He personally arranged the surgery for my mother and told me, "If the maid can't handle it, get rid of her. If she lets your mother fall once, she'll let her fall again. You don't need to worry about the care costs from now on. I'm supporting you so you can focus on your studies, not so you can work multiple jobs and neglect your education." From then on, in addition to my tuition fees, Edgar also covered the cost of my mother's care. Later, I gathered my courage and confessed to him. He said, "Sure, I like obedient ones." I stayed with him for 7 years. Later still, the dream turned into a series of waiting. It became my birthday, but he went to Sally's launch event instead. It became our wedding anniversary, and he didn't come home all night. I was grateful to Edgar. I loved Edgar. But I also hated him. It felt like I was trapped in a dream, unable to wake up. In the haze, it seemed like someone was suddenly calling my name. "Megan, Megan?" Then I was picked up. "Edgar, what are you doing here?" As I spoke, I realized my throat was terribly dry. "You wouldn't pick up the phone, I was worried something happened." "You have a high fever. You need to go to the hospital." So I had a fever. No wonder I felt so hot all over. When Edgar carried me out, it suddenly hit me. My front door was gone. Edgar's face was expressionless. I couldn't get in, so I had someone tear it down. Once my temperature went down, I began to feel my mind clear up. Edgar sat beside my hospital bed. His shirt sleeves were rolled up, revealing a deep blue watch. I stared at that watch, feeling a bit dazed. I remembered that was the watch I bought for him with my entire first salary after graduating from college. 17,000 yuan. At the time, I thought it was incredibly expensive. But one day, I overheard Sally asking Edgar, "Didn't you just buy an $8 million watch? Why are you wearing this one instead?" "Megan gave it to me." Sally gave a subtle smile. "I've never worn something so cheap. Won't it give me a rash?" What did Edgar say back then? He said, "Probably, but I'll wear it for a couple of days, to please the little girl." I spent all my savings. Only for it to be worn just to please him. Since then, I never bought Edgar another watch. So why was he wearing it again today? Was it to please me once more? But unfortunately, I was no longer that little girl. Is this what you mean by taking care of yourself? Passing out at home? When I woke up, Edgar immediately started questioning me. "It's just a fever. A fever can kill you." Edgar paused for a moment. "After you're discharged, move in with me. I'll have my assistant pack your things." "No. Is it because of Derek again?" I didn't respond, so he asked again, "Or is it because of Sally?" He was frustrated. "What do I have to do for you to believe there's nothing between me and Sally?" "It's simple. You make her disappear from the public eye." "Can you do that?" "Impossible." Not to mention the long-standing business dealings between our families, but Sally's company is half owned by me. Edgar was irritated. I didn't just do nothing about it. I sent her abroad, wasn't that enough? I scoffed. Sending Sally abroad to shoot films for a year. And that was called handling it? I didn't want to speak anymore. Edgar wasn't happy. I don't understand. Why do you have such hostility towards Sally? You're not the kind of person to treat others badly. If you lost your husband and your child because of one woman, would you let her go? What are you saying? Tears began to well up in my eyes. I lost my child, because of her. This is impossible. I wiped my tears away forcefully. 2 months before we divorced, I found out I was pregnant. I wanted to tell you when the kissing incident between you and her broke out. After that, Sally and her people came to confront me, and during the argument, I miscarried. I even saw a doctor just a week before that. The doctor said the baby was healthy. I couldn't finish my sentence and lowered my gaze. If you don't believe me, you can ask Derek. He was the one taking care of me at the hospital. Edgar staggered. His steps as he left were unsteady. After Edgar left, I lay there for a while, dazed, and fell asleep again. When I opened my eyes again, Derek was sitting next to me. What are you doing here? Derek pursed his lips, looking a little displeased. I got the news that you were in the hospital and came back right away. Then I remembered that earlier in the day, Derek had contacted me. I had indeed sent him a picture of me within 4 drip. But I didn't expect him to come back. I had seen Sally's schedule online earlier. Her premiere was today. It's nothing serious, I'll be discharged soon. His expression was serious. I know, but you had your gallbladder removed. I'm still worried. Don't you remember? I was the one taking care of you after the surgery. I remember. I smirked. The little nurse, the one who stayed overnight. Derek's face visibly flushed. He was about to say something when his phone suddenly rang. I instinctively glanced at the screen. Looking guilty, he quickly turned the phone off. Then, he looked at me nervously. I pretended not to see. What's wrong, not answering the phone? Derek shook his head. It's a scam call. A scam call. How ironic. This whole situation was a scam in itself. My fever came on quickly and left just as quickly. The next morning, I was mostly back to normal. Derek was busy helping me arrange my discharge. At that moment, Edgar sent me a message. Edgar, when will you be discharged? I'll come pick you up. No need, your nephew is here. Edgar, then I'll go even more. Edgar, you think I'm afraid of him? Everything's packed, we can go. Derek walked over, and I didn't reply to Edgar. I put my phone away and followed him out. Once I got in the car, I remembered. Our front door was gone. My temples throbbed. I wondered if Edgar had fixed it. My door lock is broken, the repairman hasn't come yet. Let's go to a nearby hotel for now. Derek didn't ask why and just nodded obediently. On the way, my phone kept buzzing. Edgar kept calling. I got annoyed and deliberately sent a hotel location. Don't come and spoil things. Then I blocked him. We entered the hotel and I pushed the door open. Derek came straight toward me. The image of Derek and Sally in City A flashed in my mind. I turned my head, and the boy's kiss landed on my cheek. Be good, just hang in there. I've just recovered from a serious illness, I'm not fit for intense activity. There was a fleeting hint of disappointment in Derek's eyes, but he nodded anyway. There was no passion between us, and it seemed like we didn't have much else to talk about either. The atmosphere grew quiet. I looked down at my phone, and Derek just stared at me. Is there something you want to say to me? Derek nodded imperceptibly. Actually, there's something I lied about. I'm not mute. Before I could finish typing, another call interrupted. It was Edgar. He hung up, then called again. Hung up again, and he called again. In the end, I couldn't take it anymore. Answer it. Without waiting for Derek to react, I stepped around him and answered the phone. Let Megan take the call. Before Derek could speak, the voice on the other end continued. Stop pretending to be mute. She already knows all about your little mess. Now, right now, let Megan take the call. In that moment, I witnessed the entire process of the puppy, from shock, to panic, to silence. I couldn't help but think to myself. The series of actions Derek just made could easily be used as an example in an acting class. Why didn't you answer my calls? I didn't answer, but you still found me. You did it on purpose? You wanted me to go find Derek personally. Wasn't it you who kept pushing me to break up? There was a pause before Edgar suddenly laughed. Megan, you've gotten smarter. I'll be there soon, and tell that boy to stay in line. The call ended, and I met Derek's complicated gaze. When did you find out? What do you mean? Do you mean when I found out you're not mute, or when I found out you were getting close to me for Sally? As for the first one, it's been a while. As for the second, that's a recent thing. Derek slumped his shoulders. I was planning to confess today. Confess that you got better in City A? No, The boy tugged at his hair, in frustration. Let's get married. We both fell silent at the same time. After a moment, he seemed to latch onto something like a lifeline. Right, let's get married. You're willing to throw away your own marriage for Sally? I stared at him, stunned. And why do you think just because you say you want to marry me, I should say yes? It's not about her, it's about me. Did you fall for me? Derek nodded gently. I laughed. He had played the part so well, I almost thought he was a great actor. I asked him, do you know why I divorced Edgar? It's because of Sally. So how do you think the chances are that I'd accept a proposal from someone who only came near me because of her? She's not really a bad person, she's just been spoiled by her family. That still makes her bad. I cut Derek off. I don't hate Sally for clinging to Edgar. It takes two to tango. But what she shouldn't have done, what she absolutely shouldn't have done, was to involve my mom. At that time, Edgar and I were about to get married. My mom had been paralyzed for over 20 years, and her health was very poor. Somehow, Sally got a hold of my mom's hospital address. She went to her bedside and told her that I was a mistress to a rich man. My mom was just a simple country woman who had never seen much of the world. Her greatest hope for me was that I would get into college and live a stable life. She couldn't bear such slander. Even when I tried to explain that we were planning to marry, Edgar wouldn't even promise me a wedding. My mom didn't believe me. In a fit of rage, her condition worsened, and she passed away not long after. That kind of hate, how could I ever forgive? I took a deep breath and looked at Derek. At that time, when Sally kissed Edgar while he was drunk, it was you who had someone destroy the hotel footage, wasn't it? Derek pressed his lips together. If you want an apology, at least show some sincerity. I looked at Derek. Give me the video. Derek's eyes flickered for a moment. I suddenly felt uninterested. Forget it. You should leave. Edgar will be back soon. Are you going to get back with him? That's none of your business. I'll give it to you. Derek stared at me. When I said I liked you, I meant it. I've never had such a pleasant experience with anyone else. I want to pursue you again, this time as myself. We'll get married and go abroad, somewhere without Edgar, without Sally. Just the two of us, starting a new life. When Edgar arrived, Derek was already gone. I had actually been hoping to see them fight it out. You look kind of disappointed. Of course. I remember you saying Derek was a jerk. I thought he was going to confront you head-on, but as soon as he heard you were coming, he bolted. He sneered. Isn't he still a jerk, sneaking around behind my back? You're right. He just proposed to me, so yeah, he's a jerk. Ridiculous. How did you answer him? I said I'd think about it. Edgar's veins popped out in anger. You really think he can marry you? When the time comes, I'll make sure everyone knows you were once my wife. His family will never accept you. I can avoid his family forever. I've been doing fine without meeting your family since we got married. I'm just waiting for the right opportunity. You've been waiting 2 years and still haven't introduced me to your family, Edgar. I'm 30 this year, not 3. I was wrong. Edgar moved closer. Let's remarry. I'll promise you a wedding. Getting an apology from Mr. Edgar isn't exactly easy. Then will you agree? I want to study abroad. I need a professor's recommendation. The moment I said that, Edgar's face darkened. You're not going. Then forget it. Please make a right turn and leave. And don't forget to fix the gate at my place, or I'll call the police. You really want to go? I didn't answer. Edgar sighed. Fine. We'll get married first. So, no room for negotiation? I thought you were the one trying to chase me. Edgar laughed lightly. All right, I'll introduce you to a professor. By the way, about Sally. At the mention of her name, Edgar's expression darkened. I'll handle it. I'll make sure our child gets a proper explanation. The next day, I received an email from Derek. It was the full video of Sally kissing Edgar from that time. When the photos of the two of them were leaked, Edgar was sitting on a chair, eyes closed. Sally gently kissed his lips. The shot was beautiful. Obviously, carefully taken. I checked with the hotel. They said the footage was destroyed after someone intervened. Clearly, Edgar didn't want to deal with it. The only people who had the power to cover up such a thing were either Edgar or Derek. I contacted the media and directly exposed the video. I also exposed Edgar's married status at the time. The internet went wild. The discussion shot straight to the hot topics. Damn, at first they were promoting them as childhood sweethearts, some big shot actor and capital tycoon. Turns out the guy was married, explosive. This woman bosses the staff around, throwing tantrums on set, and the scandal was buried by her backers. In the past, whenever something about Sally came out, it would be quickly suppressed. But this time, it spread like wildfire. Just as the situation escalated and the haters were making a scene, I got a call from Edgar. Did you release the video? She came to see you again? You two really are close. I said I'd handle it. You think I believe you? Without waiting for a response, I hung up. At the same time, I got a message from Derek. Derek, she came to see me. Derek, I ignored her. I silently smirked. I replied, good boy. Derek, can I see you? Me, no. I haven't forgiven you yet. The trending topic hadn't been up for long. Sally replied almost immediately. Sally, thanks for the concern, but we were childhood sweethearts, and the cheating rumors are false. P.S. He's single. She even posted a photo of her and Edgar from when they were kids. And then the online army kicked in. The comments flooded in. Megan has been beautiful since she was a child. I knew you wouldn't do something like that. You two look so perfect together. I snorted as I read the comments. I placed my hand over my chest. I'd seen this coming. Why would it hurt? But just a few minutes later, Edgar, who hadn't posted anything in ages, suddenly made a public statement. I'm Edgar. Yes, that photo was taken when I was married. I apologized to my wife. I'm now trying to win her back. She's just an ordinary person, so please don't pay too much attention. I couldn't believe my eyes. I closed the app, then reopened it. It was definitely him posting. I was stunned. My phone vibrated. Edgar, this is my sincerity. For the next few days, I was busy with my study abroad applications. I didn't pay much attention to what was happening online. Then, one day, I received a call from an unfamiliar number. Megan, why do you keep haunting me? A big star like you calling such a small fry like me, I'm honored. Derek actually betrayed me for you. I really underestimated you. Flattery won't get you anywhere, it's all thanks to the opportunities you gave me. Sally choked up, do you really think a video like that can affect me? I don't think so. That was just my first gift to you. Consider it a return gift for getting Derek to approach me. The next gift I'm giving you is to make you disappear from the public eye forever. Such big words. Do you really think Edgar and Derek will help you? They care about me the most. I chuckled softly. I'm not counting on them. From start to finish, all I wanted was for them to stay out of my way when I took action. After my mother passed away, I kept an eye on Sally. She relied heavily on her powerful background in the industry. She was arrogant and reckless. She offended a lot of people. Her scandals were easy to uncover if you just looked for a while. I had previously found an assistant who had left Sally's company. She had been a victim of Sally's workplace bullying for a long time. By the time she quit, her mental state was in shambles. After spending some time talking to her, I was able to dig up some serious dirt. In this industry, tax evasion seemed to be an unspoken rule. But I didn't expect Sally to already be this rich and still engaged in tax fraud. Just recently, we finally gathered enough materials. That's also why I no longer wanted to keep playing dumb with Derek. I hung up the phone and went straight to the tax authorities. I filed a report about Sally's tax evasion. Edgar was the first to receive the news about my tip-off. "Are you really going to go this far? Mr. Edgar, are you feeling sorry for her?" Edgar pinched the bridge of his nose. "Do you have any idea how much money my film company will lose because of this? Couldn't you have waited a bit? I waited long enough to watch my child die. Do you want me to wait until I'm dead too?" Mentioning that, Edgar sighed. Her family has just as many connections in the government as they do in the business world. They don't lack money. As long as she pays the taxes, it won't hurt her. Yeah. I placed a finger on Edgar's chest. Now it's up to your sincerity. 3 months later. Edgar saw me off at the airport. "Text me as soon as you get there. I'll arrange things here and come find you." "Got it, stop nagging." Edgar looked helpless. During this time, we were both busy. I was focused on my overseas school applications. Edgar was cutting ties with Sally's family. Through Edgar's efforts, the tax evasion scandal was finally exposed. Now, society had zero tolerance for such incidents. Sally's family couldn't accept Edgar's betrayal. The relationship deteriorated rapidly. Several companies under Edgar's name were hit hard. At the same time, news about Derek and me spread to the G and Meng families. Derek was sent abroad. Naturally, he refused to go. On the way to escape, he had a car accident. I visited him in the hospital. The boy had his right leg heavily casted. When he saw me, his eyes began to redden. "I miss you so much." I looked at Derek but didn't respond to his whining. Instead, I said, "Take care of yourself." He was silent for a long time before asking me, "Did you ever like me?" "I was attracted to you." He was handsome, had a great body, and pretended to be so gentle and considerate. Who wouldn't be attracted? But what does that matter? I smiled. There are plenty of young, good-looking, gentle people in the world. Even without you, I would have fallen for someone else. At the airport, the announcement called for passengers to board. I grabbed my large suitcase and said goodbye to Edgar. Edgar seemed to sense something and hugged me tightly. "Wait for me." I patted his shoulder. I didn't answer. After passing through security, I turned around and looked at Edgar, standing far away, smiling. Then I turned and snapped my SIM card in half, before tossing it into the trash. I tore up the flight ticket too. 6 months later. At a Stanford University alumni gathering. A group of people were chatting together. The topic shifted to the lies people had told in their lives. Who hasn't told a few lies in their life? No, wait, I bet Megan hasn't. She looked so sweet and innocent. I held a beer in my hand and smiled faintly at the comment. I didn't join the discussion. I've told so many lies in my life. For example, I knew Edgar loved children. But I never got pregnant. Saying I had a miscarriage was just to provoke his anger, knowing he wouldn't bother to verify it. Or, for years ago, I had met Derek. I even clearly remember him standing next to Sally. The way he looked at me was like I was trash, a rural girl who's ugly and not worth your attention. Or the fact that I never even applied to that university. When Edgar recommended me to a professor, I went to see him. The famous scholar in the academic world, so high up, said, "I can write you a recommendation, but not for Stanford." I smiled and pushed an envelope towards him. "What's this?" He frowned and opened it. A photo slipped out. It was taken in a private room, with a group of men and women drinking. Right in the middle was the professor. Surrounding him were several young women. The professor's face turned pale. I smiled and said, "It's just a recommendation for Stanford. To you, it's no big deal, but I'm sure you wouldn't want these photos to go public. And by the way, please keep this between you and Edgar." I looked up at the moon outside. My thoughts drifted away. "Are you feeling unwell?" A pleasant voice suddenly interrupted my thoughts. I remembered his name was Kay. The captain of the school's football team. He was handsome, and I knew many girls liked him. I smiled lightly. "No, just drunk." Kay handed me a glass of orange juice and sat beside me. His gaze was filled with the unmasked admiration of a young man. I couldn't help but think of Derek. I chuckled softly and clinked glasses with Kay. We meet many people in our lives. They come, they go, they leave their mark. But in the end, they're all just passers-by. The end.